Everybody, it's Lacey. Welcome back to Paws and Paper. So I'm back again with our large book journal. So the last video that I had done, we were gluing together and preparing the binding of our signature. So this is dried and I want to put it in my book, but then I was thinking I want to cover my book first, I believe, because I think I'm going to cover the whole thing in fabric. And so I want the fabric to be able to like wrap around the corners here. And then when my pages lay down, if you can see, they're not quite as big as the original book. So I want my fabric to be wrapped around, and then this page will lay over top so that we won't see any of this original book underneath. So I decided I'm going to have to cover my book first before I get this, my pages in here. So then I was thinking about what should I do with my cover. First of all, I was debating because I really like the like this green gold band that's running down there, and then just the black of this. I was just like, oh, I'm really kind of liking the black, you know, just the plain book. And then I thought, well, maybe I should just cover the spine, and I was just all over the place with ideas. And then it all came down to my pages needed something to wrap around this side of it. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do a lot of painting or something to cover all that up. So I decided I got all this pretty fabric that I had originally bought for the intention of covering the whole journal in fabric. So I'm just going to go back to that original idea. We're going to cover the whole thing in fabric. So I did cut down my fabric close to the size of my journal. I'll flip it over here so you can kind of see. I want to have about, I probably have a good 1.5 inches. How much do I have for sure? I have quite a bit here now. I don't know that I need that much. Yeah, I have an 1.5 inches here. But I definitely want to have enough to wrap all over the edges so that when I put my signature in here and these pages come down, that this is how it looks, so that you can see the fabric and then the pages and none of the original. So I did give myself quite a bit of extra room on the top and bottom. I didn't trim anything. This was just the natural width of when I bought the fabric. So I'm going to worry about that later. So my idea for this was, I think I want to embellish and sew things on to the cover of the fabric before I glue it to my book. So I even thought about, you know, sewing some pieces of, you know, like printed digital images and fabric things. So I kind of want to do a whole bunch of sewing and stuff with pieces before I glue it down. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's just get down to what I'm going to do. I am going to kind of measure out and find the corners of my book. I believe I am going to take this to the sewing machine and sew myself out a frame on my fabric. So here is like my book. So if that's like the corner of my book here, I think I'm going to kind of make a little mark here so I know my corners. And I want to take it to the sewing machine and just do some stitching so that there's a stitch that outlines the whole book, and maybe even like down the spine some stitching. And I'm going to do it in black thread. But then I think that'll look kind of cool because then it might make it look like it's sewn onto the book cover itself. So I am just going to kind of line it up. I want this to be kind of my central image. And here's my spine. I know this is harder to see. I'm just going to make kind of a pencil mark here because I should be able to find it, but I don't want to make something permanent that I can't, because I need to take this off and be able to sew, it on the sewing machine here. So I'm going to mark this corner then too, like if I would fold it, it's here, and hopefully this makes more sense once I get going, and I can erase the pencil. So this is just kind of going to give me where my fabric would lay, and here's my spine. So I'm thinking maybe if I do any stitching, it'll go here and here. My son is in the background screaming at video games. And let's see. And this doesn't have to be 100% exact. Like my stitching, if it gets a little bit like too far in, or I'm going to try to make it look, you know, it's not going to be a perfect straight stitch anyway. I probably could have pinned this down. Okay, so roughly get back to my summer marks here. And then I'm going to mark my corners here. And then I'm going to go take this to the sewing machine and do some stitching, and then hopefully you'll be able to see more of a visual of what I'm kind of thinking here. Okay, so now I'm going to take my sheet of fabric off. Don't need my book right now. And I'm going to purely just take my fabric, and from my marks, like I can see my little mark right there, I'm going to make sure that I go in at least a ½ inch or so from that mark. And I'm just going to start stitching around and making some marks around here. And I'll be right back. Okay, so I just went around where I had marked, and by no means is this straight. You can see that it's not super straight or anything like that. But the whole point is just to add some interest to it when I go ahead and fold it on here. And then we tuck all this around. So you're just going to see some interesting stitching around. You know, and like I said, it's not going to be, especially up here, you can see when it gets tucked in, it's not going to be 100% straight, but that's okay because we're going to add other things to here that this is just going to become an interesting piece. So I just kind of wanted something besides the flat, you know, fabric here. So I'm going to take my book away since for right now I don't need that. And now I'm just going to work on, since I have my space pretty much outlined here, I'm going to work on putting things down, and we'll collage some stuff up on here maybe and sew it all down, and then we'll get it glued into the book. So I have this really pretty sari silk that I think is going to make a cool, like it's got like little... Gotta find which way is the right way. This is the right way. They're like really pretty, like this is like a pale blue and then like this iridescent type, but it kind of goes really good with these colors in here. And I'm thinking this will be a really pretty, like this teal color, it goes good with that. That this will be a really pretty, like we'll make a little ruffle or something out of it to put on there, but I think I'm gonna use some of that on there. I got all kinds of things here. I got even a bunch of like washi stickers and things like that I think we can even use. Just some die cut pieces. And we'll just see what looks good on here. I think I'm going to use some of these ladies here. I think they're going to look good. So let's see here. These, I think, are gonna be cute on here. I just want to pick out one that, oh, that's a cute one. I like the girl. Let's see what would go. That's kind of a pretty, the yellow kind of ties in a little bit. That has pink on it. That would be pretty. That has some blue in it. There's some pink. There's a pretty blue. I like these ones that are kind of like this, that yellowish. That's kind of a cool, maybe we can get some of these to fit on here. Okay, let's see what will look good. I am going to use my ground espresso, and I'm going to just, let's see who may look, I kind of really like this one. Let's see. Now the border is black and everything around here. I could use black ink. I just tend not to use black ink all that much. I always just use my ground espresso if I want something really dark. Now I'm thinking if I'm going to, and I'm going to stitch these all down, but I kind of just want like a little cluster type deal. So I have some French book pages here too that maybe we could incorporate. And again, I'm just going to ink the edges. And I really don't know how this is going to go, but we're just kind of playing. So I'm just going to pretty much show you how I'm going to get started. And then I'm just going to keep doing the same things until, you know, the whole cover's filled up with things that I think will look good on here. So let's see. So if I do something, and I don't really want to hide the Eiffel Tower too awful much. I'm thinking maybe even just something like that, because we'll incorporate some fabric and stuff on here, and I'm going to like do stitching all the way around. Okay, that's looking okay. Oh, let's see, what do I have? I have this cool pink paper that I really like because it's just kind of like, that looks kind of cool. It's got that real feathery look to it. Oh, that's kind of cool because you can see through. That's almost neat that you can kind of see through it. Okay, so maybe I'll just do something like that. So let's just go for it. You know, you can't be afraid to try something. Now I'm going to just use Fabrifix. I'm not going to use a ton. I just want to get it down a little bit so that it stays in place for when I go to the sewing machine and stitch it down. And I'll stitch it down all around the edges, so the edges is what I'll be focusing on, but I just want to get a little bit of that down because I don't want it to move, because I'm going to place all kinds of pieces down before I take it to the sewing machine. So let's just kind of a little bit to get it tacked down. And I know it's scary when you you know, like when I was stitching around or whatnot, you know, it's like, okay, I'm not really measuring anything, I'm just kind of going for it. I know it's scary. You're thinking, oh, I'm going to ruin all my pretty fabric, or I'm going to ruin it. It's not going to turn out right, but, you know, I think we just got to, we got to take a chance sometimes and just go for it. Okay, so now, after I get my little cluster pieces down, I think I'll go back later and I'll probably embellish with the ribbons and the sari silks and the laces and stuff. I kind of just want to get my paper pieces down first. So I'm thinking, now I don't want to have too many paper pieces here. So I think she looks good there. And maybe I'll do another, I don't think I want two people on the front. Maybe I'll do another people on the back. She's kind of pretty. Can you see that? I kind of like her on the back. And she blends in real pretty with all those pinks. So maybe let's do her. And what else do I have that I could use with her? Should I just stay with the book page and a little bit of this? Maybe. Okay. I do like these stamped images here too, but I think that's too much. Too many images of people? I think so.
Alden!
Oh my gosh, if you're not awake, you are now. Okay, let's just do this. I think that one looks a little bit better, but just the key. Let's just do this one here. Hello, honey. You want to say hi?
What's up, Pauls and Peppa?
You,
That's the best I can do.
that's the best you can do?
I don't have the creativity and talent.
Aww. Oh, you look nice. Look at you. You're all in your suit, ready for your
Glamour shots by Deb.
your glamour shot by Deb.
That's Napoleon Dynamite reference for those of you who don't know.
Yes. My husband has to have his photo taken for work tomorrow. And he has to be all dressed up nice. So he's in his suit and tie. Looks
and
good.
pajama pants.
And pajama pants. That's a good look. Hey, they're only going to take a picture of your head, right?
I'm special.
You are special. Okay, so I think that looks good there. Let's get this inked up. And that looks pretty, I think. So now I don't want to do a ton of stuff on the, because this is the cover. I don't think I want to do a ton of stuff on here, but I do like the idea. And I'm trying to have this little poem thing sticking out here, kind of like. So I'm thinking, how does that look? Is that, because my spine is going to be here, maybe a little bit further over. Okay, and then let's use a little bit more of this. This is really cool. This is what Lauren had traded with me. She had given me some of this stuff. This is fun. It's the perfect color too for this. Maybe just like that. I think that looks good. Do we want it on this side? Nope, definitely. Yep, definitely there. Okay, let's glue this down. So, get this down. And then, I'm going to go stitch around it and show you what it looks like after I stitch around it. And then, I'm just going to continue to add little bits and pieces to it. And I think we can get this cover looking pretty darn cool. Yeah, I've never done stuff, paper stuff on the covers, but I have seen covers with the paper and embellishments on them, and I think they look really cool. And I don't know why we couldn't put paper on the front. We put paper all throughout the whole journal. No reason you can't do it on the cover. Just gonna move that over just a little bit. Okay. Now this is not quite the top of my book. I know my book top is up here a little bit, so I think we're still clear having it that close there. Okay, now I just have them adhered down with that Fabrifix. I'm gonna go sew around these, and I'll be right back to show you what that looks like. Okay, so I have stitched around the two little clusters we made here. So what I did here is I first just went around the whole picture in a straight stitch, and then I thought that this paper would be fine on its own. It's very lightweight, that I just went around the book page part of it and stitched through the book page. And this little piece here will just be kind of like free floating. It's stuck down there between the other pages and the glue. I think it'll be fine. So same thing here, just stitched around the picture and then stitched around the book page and left the other piece just kind of, I didn't stitch around that piece. So I think that looks pretty darn cool for a start. And now I think I would come back and I could even add a cute little, I have some of these cute little brads and stuff in here, but I think I want to add some lace and things first. Maybe I'll use one of these. And we could use the P for Paris. Could do that. Okay, let me grab some of my laces. I'll be right back. Okay, change of plans. I found all of this black like netting stuff, and I remembered I said I need to use this, that I wanted to use this in this journal because of all the black accents here. I think this would be cute if I could make some sort of like little flower or something out of this, and maybe then I could use one of my brads and use that like as the center of my flower. So let's see if I can do what I'm thinking here. So I'm just going to go towards the end of this netting, and this is just real fine netting. I think you could probably find this in pretty much any fabric store. I bet it does it. Oh yeah, it tears real good. Okay, so that's what I want to do, because I don't want to have, I kind of want it to have those like just the frayed edges, and not like it looks like it's been perfectly cut, I want it to look a little bit shabby. Okay, so I'm just tearing me off. I got just a random hunk here. Let's think here. if I can kind of, where's my end? It's almost like a triangle piece. So I want to make sure that I don't have ends sticking out. So I'm going to kind of grab the ends and kind of maybe start winding around like a flower looking thing. Make sure all my ends get down. This could be interesting. Maybe this is like way too much fabric. That's way too much fabric, I believe. We need to cut this way down. Okay. Need something a lot smaller. Okay. How can I make a look like a flower? So I have something similar to this. It's not really looking like a flower, it's just looking like a lump of fabric balled up. Like a lint ball you get out of the dryer, right? Let's see. Maybe if I try to cut more of a circle, I can get something to look a little bit better than the lint ball we pulled out of the dryer. And not that that looks terrible. I mean, it could pass, but not really the look I was trying to go for. Okay, so now I got like a circle. Maybe if I just twist from the center, I can get something that looks more like a flower. Maybe. Looks a little bit more like a flower, but how would I secure this? I wonder, because I'm gonna have so many loose. I'm almost half tempted to like hand thread this thing and sew this. Oh my goodness. What can I do? Will this fit through here? Oh yeah, that'll work. Okay. Let me see if I can grab anything here quickly. I got some embroidery floss. I got my pamphlet stitch needle, and we're just gonna go through this big-eyed needle here. This is just that blunt tip one that I used to sew my signatures in with. And you're gonna watch me struggle with threading the darn needle again. Every time. Okay, there we go. So now let's just craft on the fly here. So now I'm just gonna weave this in and out along the outside. I have no idea what I'm getting. Probably a big ball that's gonna have like a pocket in the middle. It's gonna end up looking like a purse. You know, like one of those string-tied purses. This is me with no plan. Okay. So I think I am almost all the way around my circle. Now I look like a spider and I caught something in my web here. Oh my goodness. Okay, well at least we have all that. Now, if I would pull this through, where's my thread? There we go. Let's tie this, and I'm thinking maybe I can flatten the top out and put a brad through that, and it would kind of make it look like a little balloon flower. Maybe. We'll see. At least we have all of our edges secure. Okay, so let's see what we can get. Now let me see if I take a really large brad, or I kind of want to use, so now I'm just going to kind of flatten it out. Now it looks like a shower cap. But if I put a brad through the center, and this is so thin that I believe my brad will just fit all the way through there. hey, that's not too bad. That's a, no, come on. That didn't turn out too bad. That's a little flower. What do you think? That turned out okay. Okay, so let's put a little bit of my Fabrifix. And I am just going to use the letter P for Paris. Okay. And now we have a cute little embellishment here, once my glue dries, that I think we could put somewhere. Like we could even get that. I bet I could poke my brads through the fabric too. That way it would be really secure. Whoops, no, it's sticking to me. And I wouldn't even have to, then worry about gluing it down, because this netting is going to be interesting. Where'd my pokey tool go? Here it is. Okay, so if I put my little, do I want it here or here? I am going to grab the cover of my book and see. I need a visual. So here's what my cover is going to look like. I need to see. I'm a very visual person. I have to see things. So sometimes I have to just kind of fix it like that's how it's going to lay. And then if I take this, where would I want this? I think I might put it there. Then I also am going to use a lot of this. And I might just do this all down the spine here. That might look, I think I do want to go this way. I don't think I want to go here, do I? Or maybe I do. I know, this is a tough decision just to put this down, right? Or maybe I should just wait and see what it looks like. I think I'm just going to wait because I've made it. I don't have to put it on. Let's just see what it looks like. I have to, I think, add some more pieces on here and then we'll put that on. But oh, I think I'm going to have to make some more of those. If you saw how I made that. Those are kind of cool. Just stick a brad through there and you got a little flower. So I am just going to keep kind of working this out in my mind, adding some things. If there's anything groundbreaking, I will come in on and show you how I made it. But I'm going to keep working on the cover and I will show you guys what I made. And then we'll glue the cover and everything down together on the next video. So I will see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.